and Larry bringing it to you, man.
Good morning out there, Mississippi. Gonna get a little rain today, looks like, on this morning. At least we're getting a little cool weather. We're so glad you joined us this morning. This is Kent Deer. Larry's not in this morning, but my special guest, Ferdinand McAfee, is with me. And we're going to talk about the new Mississippi Entertainment Investment Act. This is some fascinating stuff that I know you're going to want to hear, and we're going to get into that here and tell you about that and let you be aware of it. Tell us a little bit about what's going on here.
Oh, man, it's a brand new day in Mississippi, and we got a whole lot of stuff going on. Mm-hmm. We got a whole lot of entertainment coming this way, and we've got people like Bobby Rush, who's legendary bluesman ambassador to China, and he's expanding his label, and we're just about to really do something in Mississippi that has never been done before. Mississippi has given birth to so many people like Morgan Freeman and Oprah Winfrey who've gone all over the world and made the other states a lot of money. But they're from Mississippi. So we need our kids to have the ability to see them as well. So we're about to do a new thing in Mississippi, and there are about 2 or 3 efforts going on that are pretty big deals in terms of expanding entertainment. We want to just talk about it and tell you a little bit more about it.
And it's not just performers, but it's the entertainment industry as a whole. That you're looking at, things like Comcast and other industries, not necessarily just perform. But speaking of performers, we've got Mr. Bobby Rush on the line. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. My name is Bobby Rush. How you guys doing?
Excellent.
Good morning.
Fine.
Where are you in these parts? Where are you?
I'm in New Orleans now. I was here doing a crime stop with myself and Dr. John and a few other people.
Oh, okay.
Pastor Domino and a few other guys. I have a host of artists, but we're here to try to put a stop to crime. And we started in New Orleans because I'm from the Mississippi, still live in Mississippi, but I was born in Louisiana. So I'm in 3 states. That's Illinois and 4, Illinois, Arkansas. And because I've lived in all of a long time, and I was born in Louisiana, so I'm here to try to just my 3rd or 4th year doing this crime stop thing here, and it's come out real good.
Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit. You are a former U.S. ambassador to China, and you've inscribed a poem on the Great Wall of China and have performed all over the world. What do you think about Mississippi and its heritage and legacy and entertainment? Do you think it's time for it to expanding?
I think it's time. I think it's time for a change. I think it's time to expand it, and I think it's time for people to get a grip and set to themselves that we can do as well, just as much as other states do. You know, you got Tennessee right there next door to us, who embrace the blues and do things for the blues and with the blues, and Mississippi seem to be behind them or 8 ball with all that. Maybe we need to educate them about what we have in Mississippi. The people in Mississippi are from Mississippi, because now if you're talking about legendary guys, you would probably consider me one of them, and surely B.B. King and many other guys. And we still have people who left there because they couldn't find a place being, because Mississippi, they hadn't reached their arms around and embraced the guys who lived there. So now it's a new day, and you here to help bring that by, because you enlighten some people around the state who's in a position to help entertain and enlighten people and educate about what we have in Mississippi. So I think we're on our way to another new day.
Well, good. You were just on Jimmy Fallon with Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, right. Dan Aykroyd is a friend. He's a blues lover, and he loves the blues and the people who do it. And he always trying to support things in that definite order, you know.
Yes. So you're about to expand your record label and bring some new growth in Mississippi. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, listen, this is my, for the past 15 or 20 years, I've been contemplating and thinking about doing something like this. So Dex Allen is my first artist on the label. And it got me, it's just a start of what I'm going to do, what I'm planning to do. Because why we let the Motown happen in Detroit and Philadelphia, and Chess in Chicago. So, of course, now we have Malaco right there in Jackson, Mississippi. But Malaco can't do it all, because we have a lot of guys who there can't go with the big boys, the big labels. But I think we can do as much, because it's a new day in records period now. You don't have to help the big record company do the thing that we used to have to do. We can do that ourselves. Plus, we've been looked over. We're tired of being looked over and looked under and miscounted and not counted at all. So we're here to try to make a dent in this, to let people know that we in Mississippi, we blues people, we love it, and we can do things for ourselves.
Well, thank you so very much.
Yes, sir. We appreciate your loyalty to us here in Mississippi, and we thank you, sir, and wish you the best of careers. And and thank you so much for your help with this Mississippi Entertainment Investment Act. And we thank you so much for calling in this morning, sir.
Well, thank you very much for having me on.
Right.
You guys do a good job. Let me say before I get off that, let me thank Kent and Larry for doing what you do, because without shows like you guys, people won't be educated into knowing what's available and what they can do and what's out there, because they want to know they have people with arms out to support them. You guys support us and give us strength and give us educate us, and plus you just embrace us and give us courage to go forward, because we want to do all we can while we can, because there come a time when we can't do and we won't regret what we didn't do.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and Larry and I are both native Mississippians, and I'm a native Jacksonian, so we want to promote everything we can. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you calling in.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. And next up, we got the vice chair of this committee and Miss Entertainment and Hospitality herself, the vice chair of this committee and the co-chairman of Mississippi Tourism, Senator Lydia Chasanow. Hello.
Good morning. How are you all?
I'm doing wonderful.
Well, I'm delighted to be on the radio with you folks, and I'm humbled to be following an industry giant like Mr. Bobby Rush. Well, he's the artist. I'm in the position of being a policymaker, and we're excited about the way things are coming together in Mississippi, and certainly this Investment Act for our entertainment industry is going to help. But just look at all the good things that are going on in Mississippi right now, with the movie industry growing and tourism industry doing well. We feel like this is a great time to be supportive of things like this.
Well, we're grateful for those of you, including you and Ferdinand and all the policymakers that are involved in this thing, because those of us average guys out on the street don't realize the potential of all this and what it could do for the state. Look at what Nashville has done with country music and now blues, and look at what Detroit and other places have done. Can you hold over, Senator, for just a minute while we get into a quick break?
Certainly, be happy.
All right. We'll be right back with you. It won't be long. They stuck an extra break in. We were just so popular that we've got so many sponsors that are just standing in line to get on the Kent and Larry show.
Hey, man, let them come. Let them come.
All right, well, this is Kent Deere. Larry's not in this morning, and my guest, Ferdinand McAfee, this morning, and we'll be right back after these short messages on WJNT, Mississippi's original and #1 news talk radio station. All right, we're back here on WJNT, and we have...
Good morning.
The good senator, is it Chasanow.
Chasanow. Winona's finest.
I thought you said it's a casino, and I didn't think I said it.
No, Chasanow.
Chasanow. Well,
it's hard to spell, harder to pronounce, but it's Chasanow.
Well, I understand. Well, we're delighted to have you with us this morning. Now, Senator, just for my edification, if you will, I understand that the legislature last year passed legislation to have this study committee, and that study committee is what is going to be voted on in the next session of the legislature. So y'all are trying to put together a presentation to give to the...
Here's what we're doing at this point. We're meeting on a regular basis. We're hearing from industry professionals as well as policymakers and people who are part of the state's agencies that oversee such, and we're getting their recommendations. They're telling us what's going on already, and we're trying to figure out how to make this more cohesive, how to make it leaner, but also how to make this industry benefit Mississippians more. It's as you cited Nashville a moment ago. Sure, there are other states that have sort of gotten the jump on us, and we feel like as Ferdinand said when I first met him, Elvis is from Mississippi. He's not from Memphis.
That's right.
You know.
But where is Graceland?
Yeah, well, but he moved up there, and that wasn't his fault. His family took him up there when he was a child. But we don't like other people taking our folks and branding them as theirs. I've always said Marty Stewart's a great example of an ambassador for Mississippi, because wherever he goes, he says he's from Route 8, Philadelphia, Mississippi. You know, and we need to be proud of where we're from.
Absolutely.
And I think that this type of organized effort will not only help Mississippi have a more positive image in the country and internationally, but it'll also bring revenue in and help create jobs, and that's what this is all about. It's a great way to create jobs in Mississippi. And I'll give you an example. Several weeks ago, I had gone to Clarksdale, and Kathy Allen, who's the head of the tourism agency up there, it's a Mississippi Tourism Association member, she took me around, and we went to a little place that had been a dime store. I think it was like a Woolworths, maybe a drugstore. They had turned it into a restaurant on the bottom floor, and upstairs had made loft apartments. Now, that's a great repurposing of a building that wasn't being used anymore. The place was full of tourists on a Monday night. I went around talking to them, find out where they were from. Germany, Sweden, Norway, on a Monday night. Place was filling up with tourists. Now, these people get it. They understand the uniqueness and the wonderful opportunity to come to Mississippi. Now, on a Monday night, that was what blew me away. The place was full of folks. And we rode around, and, you know, the town of Clarksdale was hopping. So I say, hats off to Kathy Allen and whatever they're doing up there in Clarksdale, because people from other places are coming in to visit. They're fascinated with the music. They're fascinated with the literature, because Tennessee Williams Festival up there. And the whole Delta experience, you know, I think there's the concept of the Shack Up Inn. I'm not trying to give a commercial for anybody, but just that concept, people thinking creatively about what will attract other folks to our area. That's what we need to do. The study is going to help us bring all this together, and I think it will be for the good of the state.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it. Bring us not only revenue, but recognition that we're certainly due. You know, we've got
had too much recognition in the other direction.
Yeah.
We need for folks to come to see us. Tate Taylor, I hate to drop names there, but he's another person. He said the hardest thing about making the help in Mississippi was getting the actors to come here. And he told me now they all want to know when we're going to make another movie, and they just did.
Well, they just did, and
you know, the James Brown biopic.
Another Jackson Prep graduate named Tom Rice is producing a movie that's coming out here. What's it called? The name is fixing to come out here just any day now.
Yeah, I mean, movies are wrapping. Shooting's about to start in the Delta. We've got all sorts of good things going on in that industry, and it can only help us because Louisiana has developed a huge film industry, and we're not there yet, but we're trying to get there. In Mississippi, you know, you have to start not with $100 million budgets, but we've got to start and build a crew base here in Mississippi, and once we can do that, I think we'll start having more of those.
Well, that's good. I would guess from our conversation that you're going to vote for the bill.
Well, I'm helping to craft the legislation for the bill.
Well, we're certainly thankful for that, Senator, and we appreciate
wonderful
we appreciate your hard work and along with Ferdinand's to keep us informed. Thank you so much for calling in this morning.
Well, my pleasure, and good work.
Thank you, sir, ma'am.
All right.
And we're going to transition to show you exactly what we're talking about. We had first in Mr. Bobby Rush, who's a legendary musician who's been around here all around the world representing Mississippi well. Senator Chassenal, who knows all of the parts and pieces of this thing across the state. And now we have the manager of a brand new artist who just got signed by Alligator Records. So we're going to show you full circle how real this is. And we are welcoming this morning Mrs. Peggy Brown.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Thank you for letting me be on.
Oh, thank you for agreeing to be.
We wouldn't have it any other way.
With us humble guys.
Tell us a little bit about what you do and the artist who is right here from Clinton, Mississippi, and is burning up the charts right now.
I will do that for sure. My name is Peggy Brown, and I have my own entertainment company called Hit the Road Entertainment. And sidebar to that, I'm also a board member of the Mississippi Musicians Hall of Fame, which has been about celebrating and honoring all of this wonderful music and the musicians that come from Mississippi. But delightfully, as president of Hit the Road Entertainment, I am managing Jerika Singleton, who is from Clinton, Mississippi, 30 years old.
Wow.
He loves to go all over the world, just came back from Canada, as a matter of fact, and proudly declares that he's from Clinton, Mississippi.
Good for him.
He wants people to know that he's from Clinton, Mississippi. And he is on the prestigious Alligator label, which is absolutely awesome for someone who's only 30 years old. And Alligator is the blues label, I guess, that most every blues musician would love to say that they are on. And it's been such a blessing for him to get his music out there, but the waves that he's making everywhere he goes it's wonderful. He has a particularly unique style of blues, which is what he needs to be about now to carry on that genre with the younger people. But what I want to go back to is that he proudly says he's from Mississippi. Now, Alligator has had a lot of artists on their label who live in Chicago and other places who were born in Mississippi, but they no longer live in Mississippi. Yes. And so he's the only artist on the Alligator label from Mississippi who still lives full-time in Mississippi. So saying all that, well, one other person I wanted to mention, too, is Grady Champion. Grady Champion has his own label, and he's now recording for Malico, but he proudly says he's from Canton. And so I just love it that these younger guys want to tell people all over the world that they are from Mississippi, because this is the birthplace of America's music. So Jerikas is, as I said, tearing the charts up everywhere he goes, and just a wonderful ambassador for Mississippi, and the people in Canada loved him. And one thing about that as well that Senator Chassenal was mentioning about the Monday night in Clarksdale, we here in Jackson, I'm in the Central Mississippi Blues Society, we put on Blue Monday at Howlin' Mouse on Monday nights in Jackson, Mississippi. And the number of international tourists that we have is just awesome, because they're routing through from New Orleans to Memphis, and they're coming through wanting to experience this awesome, wonderful music that we've birthed here. And they'll come through on Monday night and just sit there and go, oh, we wish we had something like this where we're from. Yes. They delight in it. And so if we, as a state and as a unified entity, can do more to promote this jewel that we have, which is the music and the musicians, I think that that's what we need to be doing, because as I said, they come through on Monday nights going, this is what we were looking for. This is the feel. This is the music. This is the experience. And as Senator Chassenal was saying, we're making movies here because we have the great sets. We have the wonderful Mississippi sets, and just the location and the experience is what I think that we need to capitalize on.
And we're headed that way.
Exactly. So I so appreciate Ferdinand and Senator Chassenal and Rita Martinson for all that they're doing to make us be unified to capitalize on this jewel.
Well, it's going to take all of us, those of you who represent the musicians themselves, the industry people, the media, such as the Comcast and the Gannett's and the media people of the world. I mean, this is an effort. The entertainment industry is not just the entertainer. It's all the stuff that goes along with that, which this is something I'm beginning to learn. I didn't realize it. It takes... is who was Hillary Clinton used to say it takes this case it takes a city, because you got performers, and you got backup performers, and you got producers, and you got
accountants, and
all the things that go along with it, and I'm so I'm so pleased that y'all have formed this coalition, and once again we're running up against time, Ms. Brown. But thank you so much for calling in. And for those of you that are listening, we're talking about the Mississippi Entertainment Investment Act. We need that. Call your senator. We'll be right back after these short messages on WJNT. All right, we're back here on WJNT, Mississippi's original and #1 news talk radio station. Kent and Larry Show, Sons Larry, and in his place today, I've got Ferdinand McAfee with me, who
It is I.
It is the man, and he is head of the study committee for the Mississippi Entertainment Investment Act. And we've got several guests that have been on, and we got Mr. Benjamin Wright we picked to put on the air, and we're in testimony to the value of this Mississippi Entertainment Investment Act and what it can do for Mississippi, and we let these great and wonderful people like Mr. Wright, and good morning, Mr. Wright, who was born in Mississippi, who is a native Mississippian.
Hold on, before he talks, let me tell you a little bit about him. He worked on the music for Michael Jackson's album, over 100 million albums sold. He did Justin Timberlake album, which was the #1 selling album in the country last year. For 50 years, he's done it, over 7 Grammy certificates, and he is from Mississippi.
Yes, sir. Mr. Wright, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Everything's lovely. I hope it is with you.
Yes, it is.
Would you say that Mississippi has a pretty good chance to expand their entertainment industry and make a little bit of money for its citizens and state?
Well, it's amazing you would ask me that at this particular time. Since the induction of Mr. McAfee, there are no limits.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? This man shoots for the stars, and he gets them.
Sometimes I do.
Yeah. He's a go-getter. I'm very proud of him. I am very, very proud of him.
As am I.
Well, you got inducted in the Hall of Fame here, I think in 2011. They gave you a day at the Capitol, and when you got a chance to come back, he said, I'll do anything you all need us to do to help Mississippi. And there's not very many people who do that. You know, and to his credit, he's been doing it many, many years. What was it like to work with Justin Timberlake recently? He won a few Grammys on that album, and most of that was your mastermind work.
Well, you know, Justin is a wonderful person, #1, and a very humble person. I say humble because he's rich. He's richer than rich. But he is a very humble, you know, the cat came from good roots. You know, actually he's from Memphis, but maybe he's from Mississippi. I don't know, you know. But he's wonderful, and the thing is, with he and me, I think the first album I did with him, the record company called me because they had a Michael Jackson thing in mind, and because I had worked with Michael, they thought that they could get some of those elements. The second album, Justin Timberlake called me. The third album, Justin Timberlake called. And so we have a relationship. We're buddies, and he describes me as crazy because you know nobody tells me what to write or whatever. From Justin's standpoint, give it to Mr. Benjamin Wright. Because he's crazy. He comes up with these crazy ideas. I don't know where he gets them from, but just give it to him. So that's our relationship, man.
Well, that's great. That's a good one to have.
So you did Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, Earth, Wind and Fire, Boogie Wonderland, work with the Temptations. How is it to have had such an illustrious career? And how many Mississippi musicians have you come across as you've been out in the field? How important and significant is Mississippi's influence on music for the 50 years you've been out?
Certainly, Mississippi has a major impact upon the music industry. I think you guys should know, if you don't, that with the Grammys, they have deemed Mississippi to have had more Grammy winners than any other state.
Wow! Out of all 50 states, little old Mississippi?
Yes. You know, so, you know, I didn't know that until just a few years ago. and I was at the Grammy Museum and in L.A. And for almost every exhibit there was either a leading person or a musician in the band in every display they had from Mississippi.
Wow.
You know, so, you know, I was proud to be part of that.
Something in the water over here.
Must be, man. You know, that yellow water. You know what I'm saying?
That muddy water.
Muddy water.
Yeah. Well, we're mighty grateful to you for calling in this morning. We're mighty proud that you do hail from Mississippi with all your success, and we look. What we're trying to do is help Ferdinand and his crew identify those people that are from Mississippi. And oddly enough, you know, we kind of think people are not so proud to be from Mississippi, but what we're finding out is that they really are.
They're mighty proud.
They're mighty proud to be from Mississippi. And
every interview I've done ever, I always state that I'm from Greenville, Mississippi, and I have been questioned a few times, like, "Wow, you say that so proudly?" Well, I'm proud. That's where I came from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so. I'm not going to get involved in terms of all of the other issues, but that's where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
Piece of cake, and I do music. So, and let me say something about Mr. Ferdinand there.
Oh, God.
Okay. Here's a young cat. You know, he wishes to be my age.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy. He's a young guy, and we fight all the time. Okay, and the thing is, he has these ideas in his head, and I'm like, okay, you need to talk to this person, you need to talk to that person, and you know, as a true Mississippian, I don't need to talk to them, whatever. But sometimes he follows up. He follows up. So when I say I'm proud of him, he has been compiling information and statistics in the whole bit enough to that. He presented it to the state, and we understand the bill has been passed, and the whole bit. I am so grateful, so honored that I know him, but he still can't beat my butt. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Wright. Really
Thank you, sir.
you.
It was great talking to you. Thank you for calling in. Oh, that's great. What a neat guy. Well, we're covering the gamut here of legislators. Well, she's not a producer, but she represents. What do you call that?
She's a manager and
manager. There you go.
Yes.
And the performer, and now a
string arranger and
orchestrator. Wow, what a
that's just music, man. Mississippi does that in everything. Yes, that's a guy from the Grammy Association. He just talked about the Grammys, and lo and behold, Mr. John Horniak, he's over the Recording Academy in Memphis. He's over Louisiana, Memphis, and Mississippi. How are you doing? Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm doing well. Can you hear me okay?
We can, sir.
We can hear you just fine.
Mr. John Horniak.
Well, Benjamin Wright was just talking about how the Grammys Association has just identified Mississippi as per capita having more Grammy-winning and nominated artists than anywhere else in the world. Now, you're over the Grammy Association in our area. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Memphis is one of 12 chapters of the Recording Academy, the organization that presents the Grammy Awards. And Memphis got its chapter in 1973, 41 years ago. It was the sixth chapter at that point, I think, after L.A., New York, Nashville, Atlanta, and Chicago. And then a year later, San Francisco became the seventh chapter. And then we didn't add any more chapters for 20 years. In 94, we restructured and added some new chapters after that in Texas and Florida, D.C., and Philly and Pacific Northwest. So, and then beginning in 1973, to get enough members, enough critical mass to have a chapter, Knox Phillips, the son of Sam Phillips, who was leading the effort, reached out to the Jackson, Mississippi music scene and partnered up and got enough members and made the presentation. The got a chapter, and Mississippi has been a part of ever since. I came on board as the first full-time executive director in 1994, and my background is being a musician. I'm from the Boot Hill, Missouri, came to then Memphis State, and I played a lot of gigs and fraternity parties in Mississippi and Mississippi State and a lot of different places in Mississippi. So obviously, I was very familiar with the heritage there. And during my college time, I booked some concerts and different events at Ole Miss and concerts in the Grove. So when I
you've
came
been
on
around
board,
the block
I was
a few
very familiar
times.
with Mississippi. So
Yes.
Well, you realize the initiative that we're working on here is this Mississippi Entertainment Investment Act. And so what I hear you saying is that you feel like Mississippi's music heritage is certainly something that we should pursue and try to get on the map.
absolutely. When we got involved, really it started with the Memphis chapter, but it was really when Governor Barber reached out to me about let's do something to shine a spotlight on the music heritage of Mississippi. My response was, well, there's a lot of Grammy winners from Mississippi, and there's a lot of people that from Mississippi that received Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award and Trustees Awards and have songs in the Grammy Hall of Fame. But I also reached out to our president and CEO, Neil Portnow, who thought it was a great idea, and so this has been going back to probably 2005 or 2006, the idea of the Recording Academy in Mississippi working together has been embraced on the highest level. And I would say that we have a unique relationship with Mississippi, unlike we really have with any other state. And the key thing is that the second Grammy Museum, with the first one being in Los Angeles, the second one will be based in the Mississippi Delta in Cleveland, Mississippi, and that's scheduled to open next fall. And that's a really big deal. And because, there's a lot of places we could put a Grammy Museum, and for the second one to be in Mississippi, Bob Santelli, who is the director of the Grammy Museum and probably knows more about Mississippi Delta blues than anybody in Mississippi. He's written books and lectured and taught on it. He thought that was a great place to basically put the second Grammy Museum at what is considered the birthplace or cradle of America's popular music. So we're moving full speed ahead. They've broken ground, and it should be open by next fall.
That's good news, sir. We appreciate your sharing that with us, and we certainly appreciate your promotion of Mississippi artists in this thing, and we thank you a bunch for calling in this morning. Good to talk.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Good to talk to you.
Okay.
Well, gosh.
I know you may be wondering a little bit more about the specifics of what this actually will do.
I tell you what,
We'll wait.
I got my favorite caller calling in. So let me just see.
Let him come on in.
Good morning, Mr. Bill.
Good morning to you. I hope I see you Sunday morning when I step off the elevator.
You sure will.
Very good. Well, anyway, I want to congratulate all of these people on their performances. And I'd like to add one more congratulations, which I seldom do. I'd like to congratulate Bill Miner on his column this morning.
Oh, I hadn't seen that.
You better look at this. Worth reading.
I'll look at it. I'll look at it. All right. See you Sunday, Mr. Bill.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Bill.
Mr. Bill is a World War II veteran,
wow.
Purple Heart recipient, and he's just
thank you for your
just
service,
our
Mr.
regular
Bill.
guy. Now you were going to get specific.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the specifics of this so that everyone really understands in context. Last year, L.A. made $47 billion from entertainment. Last year, Nashville made about $18 billion from entertainment. Last year, Georgia made about $13 billion from entertainment. Mississippi made less than $2 billion with all of these people that we've placed in the world. Mm-hmm. Now, we've talked a little bit about music, and it has taken up almost all of this hour because we have so many musicians who've come from here and so many new ones who are starting. We have about 5 new groups right now that are out on the national circuit just getting started.
But we have the guy that's head of BET.
Oh, my goodness.
And
Bob
that's a whole
Pittman,
network.
MTV.
Yeah.
Ted Turner's father was from here, so CNN. Comcast started in Tupelo, the world's largest multimedia corporation, bought Universal Records and NBC recently. TV One is started by Kathy Hughes, who was the guy that started Piney Woods, Lawrence C. Jones' granddaughter. Oprah Winfrey Network. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So that's television.
And that's not even, that's a whole different side.
That's a whole nother side.
It's still entertainment.
It's still entertainment, you know? Mississippi is out of control. It really is. What is the guy, Ken Lewis, who was a former CEO of Bank of America?
Yeah, and then think about all the athletes. When we talk about entertainment, athletics is certainly entertainment.
It's entertainment.
And you think about all the athletes from Mississippi that are out there, and the legend and the legacy of so many wonderful athletes in Mississippi. So this is not just music. Music's a big part of it, but it's also the media type and the athletic part of it and all. This is a huge venture, and just stop and think a minute of the potential of developing that, particularly legislation. Developing that so that it can be capitalized on and what it could do for our state. This could be the catalyst that we've all been looking for to make Mississippi the wonderful place that we know it is.
I believe it. I believe this is
best
the one.
kept secret in the world.
Oh, man.
All right, folks, we'll be right back after this short break on WJNT, Mississippi's original and #1 news talk station. This is Kent Deere on the Kent and Larry Show, Friday morning. All right, we're back here on WJNT, Mississippi's original and #1 news talk radio station. Kent Deere and my pal Ferdinand McAfee are with me. Now, we're talking about the Mississippi Entertainment Investment Act, the study that's going on right now. It's going to be presented to the legislature in the spring, when the winter, whatever January, when they come back to session, and we want y'all to know about it and want you to be as enthused about it as we are, and contact your senator or representative and tell them how excited you are about this and you want to hear more about it or whatever. Now, we've discussed the music part of it, and
we just talked about television.
Yeah, and then we've talked to the media part of it a little bit. And we've got Mr. Tim Bennett on the line. We're fixing to go to him in just a minute, who represents the sports side of it. This is a guy who develops baseball stadiums such as Trustmark Park.
That has made over $1 billion in the last 10 years.
Things like that. And so we're looking at revenue sources, not only through the music, but through the entertainment industry, and baseball and football are certainly entertainment. Good morning, Mr. Bennett.
Tim Bennett, how are you doing, brother?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How you guys doing?
Great.
Doing great. Give us a little rundown about what you're doing and what you've been up to.
Well, the last 10 years, of course, I've been working on trying to get a ballpark built down in Biloxi, and finally was fortunate enough to partner up with MGM, and they gave me a nice piece of property that will connect to Beau Rivage and build a nice AA baseball stadium for the Milwaukee Brewers. So we'll have two teams in the state for the first time.
Oh, wow. And you are one of the you're going to be one of the owners of that team.
Absolutely, I am. One of the owners, and then also my company, Overtime Sports, will be managing the actual stadium itself for all the events that we'll do. We started planning events for next year already, concerts and college baseball and Mardi Gras and all of the things that we need here on the coast for entertainment.
Mr. Bennett, what do you think is your personal outlook for sports venues in the state of Mississippi? And can we support stuff like that?
Absolutely. Well, we've got, now we'll have two teams, and for minor league baseball standards, that's about the best we're going to be able to do because of you got to have a certain amount of distance between each team. So we've got the maximum amount of teams that's allowed now by having the two teams. But as far as support is concerned, we've had an excellent run with the Mississippi Braves. Attendance has been great. The construction around the site itself, as far as the Bass Pro, the outlet malls, the hotels, all the entertainment that it's brought as a result, has been a tremendous success, and we expect the same to happen here in Biloxi.
Yeah, and now I was in Biloxi not long ago and kind of saw the site. How near finished is that?
We were looking at April 20th is our opening day.
Okay.
And we've got Yates building it. They've done an excellent job. And Pearl, in fact, they got Pearl done in 11 months. And so we're hoping that they'll be able to do the same year.
Okay.
And you're thinking about Jackson again?
Yeah, I've looked at potentially doing a downtown ballpark in Jackson. This would be a 4,000-seater, primarily for the colleges. And the RBI baseball program is what we'd hope to bring into that facility as well.
What is RBI?
That's Reviving Baseball in the Inner Cities. It's a program that Major League Baseball has. And that's designed to help or assist the underprivileged children to get a chance to play the sport of baseball.
So can underprivileged children really play baseball?
Well, I think that was proven just a few weeks ago with the kids in Chicago and Pennsylvania, where we saw the Jackie Robinson team that was the best team in America and the second best team in the world. Unfortunately, lost to a better team out of I think China. But anyway, they showed that underprivileged kids, not only can they play baseball, but they can succeed and excel at it.
I coached Little League Baseball for several years back when my kids were growing up. And I tell you, I watched some of that stuff on television, and I was absolutely amazed at how good those little kids are.
All those kids, the level of play was out of control.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
Wow.
So, yes, I can concur with that. and that was one of those RBI programs, you say?
Yeah, actually, the Jackie Robinson is what that's called, Jackie Robinson Little League. And that's a desire of mine, is to have something very similar to that. Those kids in Chicago, they put down the guns and picked up a bat, and it made a tremendous difference. It gives the kids something else to do, and I see a similar trend developing in Jackson, Mississippi, where we can give these children one more opportunity to do one more thing to get them off the street and give them something to look forward to. And those kids done such a great job, not only on the field but off the field. Whenever they did interviews and talked to the media and they traveled, they really represented not only the city of Chicago well, they represented baseball well, they represented their families very well, and represented themselves. And I think that we could do the same thing in Jackson.
Mr. Bennett, thank you so much for your work, and thank you for calling in, sir. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, we got 3 or 4 minutes here in the left now, Ferdinand. So I'm going to turn it over to you to sum all this up. And
absolutely.
Wow, we've had so much information here this morning and so much enthusiasm. So
well, I'm gonna give you an analogy so that anybody who just jumped on the radio can kind of understand this. Mississippi is on a playground. It's a little chubby kid, can't run real fast. And the big kids, New York and Atlanta and Los Angeles, are pushing them down, saying, oh, you talk slow and you got an accent and all these things. And they've been doing that to this poor little Mississippi kid on the playground for years. They love to laugh about Mississippi. But we know something better. So what these efforts are now is an opportunity to come in and stop it. To say to everybody, not only are we not behind you all, but if you look at the math throughout history, Mississippi has been leading the charge. To be such a small state, we have put out a lot. So hopefully these efforts can do more than just create legislation. Maybe we can get the buzz in the air so that the school children and everybody else can start really being proud of the fact that Mississippi is an amazing place to be. We have no reason not to love it. And I also want to thank, Mary Margaret, who's at MDA over in Creative Economy, Governor Phil Bryant. It's been a lot of people, Representative Rita Martinson. It's been a lot of people coming together to do something right now that has never been done before. Even on the college institutional higher learning sector, there is something called Blueprint Mississippi that they've just released to the college campuses, where they're going to incentivize young, intelligent, bright, and excited children and give them the opportunity to solve some of the problems in Mississippi. Use their brains not just for homework, but to actually engage them to come up with some different ideas. And when you got all of those different things going on at one time, you can't help but do something that's never been done in history here. I feel good about it.
I don't think, I'm lived in Mississippi all my life, and lived in Jackson all my life, as a matter of fact, and I've seen a lot of things come and go. I've seen us take on liquor. I've seen us take on gambling.
I've seen them drink a lot of liquor, too. They handle that pretty well.
All those things were going to solve all our problems. I remember when if you'll pass this liquor bill, we'll have the finest school system in the world. If you'll let us have legalized gambling, we'll have the finest thing. Well, both of those things probably have helped in one way or another in a small way, but they are tiny compared to what we're talking about here, folks. I'm just trying to wrap my head around what all we've talked about this morning with music and entertainment, with athletics and all the athletes and everything, and then with things like Comcast, like you said, it was born in Tupelo, Mississippi, MTV, BET, all these things that were headed up and born by Mississippians, but for them to flourish, they had to leave the state.
Yes.
Let's build an environment where those things won't happen. There's no telling how far we could take our state if we get this ball rolling. So I'm just as excited about it as Ferdinand is. And now, Ferdinand, you come back and keep us posted on the progress of this.
I'll do it, and thank you for always having an open door and heart.
Yeah. All right. If you have any questions or anything about this, you can give me a call up here, 366-1180, and I'll put you in touch with Ferdinand or get your questions answered. Thank you for listening this morning. Have a great weekend, and don't forget to go to church on Sunday.